Hello and welcome to all. In today's session, we will see what are the different environments are available when we are developing a software. Okay, so before we start, first we'll understand what is a software environment. A software environment is a setup where our application is built, tested, validated, and released using specific servers, database, configuration, and access controls. Okay, so we'll see one by one what are the different types of environments. Okay, first is a development environments. Okay, it's also called dev environments. Okay, like if you see the basic purpose of dev environments is it use actual building a software. Okay, actual coding happens on this environment. Okay, like if we have a new features or stories, okay, or bug fixes. Okay, so all these are developed or fixed on this environment. Okay, and who uses it? Developers, basically developers are using dev environment. Okay, now if you see this environment is unstable, frequent code changes. Okay, many times dummy or local data uh, dev team is used. Okay, and frequently they are taking a new build on this environment. Okay, now here you can see the example: a developer implements a login feature and test it locally before committing the code in GitHub. Okay, so this is the dev environment. Then next is a SIT. It's nothing but the system integration testing environment. Okay, like if you see the purpose of this SIT is to test the integration between the multiple modules. Okay, so it's not only multiple models when we are using the API. Okay, we are also using the SIT. We are checking the API is written the correct response or not. Okay, so it ensures the system communicates correctly. And who uses it? QA team, integration tester, and backend and the API testers are using. And this is a more stable compared to dev environment. Okay, and here we are integrating the components and verifying UI, then API response and the DB. Okay, like here you can see example login and the dashboard user profile working together without breaking. Okay, so now if you see here, login is a separate module, dashboard is a separate module, okay, and user profile is separate module. But using SIT, okay, using the UI, then API and the DB, we are checking all these three modules. Okay, so once SIT is passed, okay, then next is a QA or the test environment. Okay, so basic purpose of QA and the test environment is a perform the functional verification. Okay, it validate the requirements against the test cases. And who uses it? Mostly manual tester and the automation testers are using QA environment. Okay, now if you see this is a stable build, okay, or stable environment, okay, compared to dev environment and the staging environment, and it's under controlled environment, and test data is available. And here we can see tester perform the positive and negative flows. The next is a automation testing environment. Okay, so it execute the automated test scripts. Even the automation team is writing the new script on this environment, and regression testing is performed after the every build. Okay, and if you see users, mostly automation engineers are using this environment, and also CI/CD pipelines like Jenkins, GitHub Actions. Okay, and like if you see same as QA or dedicated environment and integrated with CI tools. Okay, so DevOps team is also using this environment to perform the pipeline. And here you can see Selenium scripts run automatically after the code merge. Okay, then again, it depends on the organization to organization whether they need to keep the separate automation testing environment or the same script or the regressions test cases, the automated regression test cases they are executing on the QA environment. Okay, so now next is a performance or the load testing environment. Like if you see the basic purpose of this environment is measure the speed, scalability, and the stability, and identify the bottlenecks. And mostly performance testers on the DevOps team is using these things, this environment, and it's a setup is like a kind of production environment and high volume test data. We are verifying on performance environment. Okay, like for example, 30 plus users log in at a time. Okay, using JMeter. Okay, so this thing is possible on performance environment. Okay, so now if you see performance environment, and the QA environment, the configuration is different. Okay, so like if you see in QA environment, the basic purpose we are verifying the functional testing, where is the performance. Okay, we are checking the speed, scalability, stability, and identify the bottlenecks. And here, our main objective or the purpose is like we are giving the more load to the system. Okay, next is the UAT, user acceptance testing environment. Basically, business users. Okay, it ensures the application meets the client expectation. Okay, like here you can see mostly product owners, and we are giving to client also to perform the UAT. Okay, it's near like a production environment, and the product team or the clients, they are doing a real world scenarios, and client verifies if login flows matches the business process. Okay, then next is a staging environment. Okay, now if you see the basic purpose of staging environment is a final validation before we deploy the production environment. Okay, and here we perform the smoke and sanity testing, and QA team is using, DevOps team is also using, and along with the QA team, product owners are also using staging environment. Okay, it's a like a kind of mirror of production. Okay, and like if you see it's a final checks before releasing application to live users. Okay, so this is the staging environment. Then next, the last stage is the production environment. Okay, and here real users use the application, and business revenue the environment. And like who uses it? Only end users. And if in case any issues come to end users, the support team is giving, support team have the access to use this environment. Okay, and even for DevOps, they also have the limited access. Okay, and this environment is highly stable and real data. Okay, in this environment, and in this environment, we are not expecting any kind of defects. Okay, and here you can see the example like user logins, place order, and make the payment, and all the features should work smoothly without any error. Okay, and here is a all this environment in quickly I have explained. Okay, so dev environment development, this basic purpose of dev environment is for development and unit testing, and mostly developers are using. Then next is a QA environment, basically used for the functional verification, testers are involved. Then SIT, this is the integration testing, mostly QA integration testers are using the API, UI, and the DB things. Then next, performance testing environment. Basically, main purpose of performance testing is environment is load and stress testing, and performance team is using this environment. Then next is a UAT, business validation purpose. We are using the UAT. Mostly client is a user, and staging is a before or the pre-production validation. QA, DevOps, and the product teams are using staging environment. And the last is the production environment. It's live users, and the users is the end users. Okay, so this is the all the different types of environments in software development. And again, like as I mentioned, okay, it depends on organization to organization what are the environments we need to keep ready and available. Okay, and important thing is like each environment exists for a specific purpose. Okay, skipping or misusing environments leads to production bug, customer complaints, and the business loss. So as a full stack QA professional, we need to understand the environment is a mandatory, not a optional. Okay, so if in case anyone have any questions, query, please let me know. Thank you.